All right, my friends, better late than never, as we always like to say, for Friday Night Meta. Here, our weekly series here on the channel as we break down all the latest and greatest in terms of the statistics, the best decks, all those fun things for you here across each of the formats and standard best of one or best of one and best of three here today. So thank you for tuning in as we close out January. I can't believe January is already almost over here for 2024, and we're looking forward to the new murders at Karlov Manor as well. So stay tuned for a lot of that information. We got some here on the channel already that you can check out. Well, thank you for tuning in. As always, down below, you'll find today's timestamps for each of those pieces, like we said, and let's get off to the races here as we close down the month. Now, a couple things here. We do have mono white humans at the top, mono red aggro, Selesnya enchantments, dimmer mid-range, 4-color domain, Azor's control, mono blue aggro, or mono blue tempo, and mono black aggro making its way back in here. Here on the right, you can see heavily dominated by that mono red aggro at 25% of the play, followed by mono white humans and Selesnya enchantments, plus all the rest there for you too. And then here you can see just heavily dominated here for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Looking forward to some of those changes. We do see a little bit of back and forth between Selesnya and mono white humans here, and then mono white still running in terms of the top across the board as well. We did see that Selesnya enchantments doing pretty well there for a little bit, kind of falling down, that mono red picking back up steam. So really interesting to see that across the board. As we look at Mythic here, we do have a couple of changes. We do see that Gruul aggro popping up a little bit higher, mono red aggro in there as well. Naya Dinosaurs also getting into it there, but mono red still heavily dominated and heavily played. So it's always fun to kind of see some of those changes here, what ensues and what develops over the course of the month, and particularly the difference at the go wide, which is all of the different bronze to mythic, plus when it gets a little bit more narrow at mythic. All right, best of three here now. Best of three, I love it. Ban Toxic is the #1 list. So much fun. I love that one. Great to see that as well. And then here below we have 4-color domain, dimmer midrange, mono red aggro, Golgari midrange, Esper midrange, Rakdos Discover in there, and Azor's Tempo. So a couple big changes there in terms of the best of three. And then on the right, you can see again heavily dominated, fairly straight across the board, almost at 10% for everything. Very interesting when we see that. And then again, look at this, very close in terms of that popularity in the meta. We do see that mono red rising. We also see that Ban Toxic doing very well, coming off a little bit in terms of that popularity. But then again here, look at this, very nice Ban Toxic. One of my favorite lists, by the way, too, and you can check it out here on the channel. When we get to Mythic, do we have something a little bit different? Just a little. We got Boros Convoke in there as well. A couple other lists, but Ban Toxic still at the top there. Not quite equally as 10% across the board. A couple other changes there, but very nice to see in that standard best of three. All right, we're going to pull it all the way back. Next, we're going to take a look at Explorer. What's happening in Explorer, my friends? We got Abzan Amalia here. Mono white humans, Azor's Control, Selesnya Angels, mono red aggro, Boros Heroic, Izzet Phoenix, and Rakdos midrange. Those two under 50%. Here on the right, really dominated by those top four there. And then here, that popularity, as you can see over time, again, Amalia still staying at that top, Azor's Control. Really these four lists in terms of popularity, kind of a little bit of a dichotomy there going on. And then additionally here, that win rate over time, Abs and Amalia doing very well. We do see a pickup in that mono white humans, as well as Abs and Greasefang, Azor's Control, which is kind of interesting to see there as well. And when we drill into Mythic, we do have Abs and Amalia and Azor's Control primarily there for best of one. Now, when we see best of three, we do have Abs and Amalia there as well, and Azor's Control here. Mono black midrange, Rakdos midrange, 5-color fires, Rakdos Sacrifice, mono black Wastenot, and Izzet Phoenix here for Explorer, dominated really by Rakdos midrange, Azor's Control. Really at the top, you can see that fairly spread out. And then here, a nice up in Azor's Control and also Abs and Amalia there towards the end. Mono black making a nice run at it too there. Let's see what we have in terms of Mythic here. Mythic, really Abs and Amalia, Azor's Control, Izzet Phoenix, and Rakdos midrange for us. All right, that concludes Explorer. Let's take a peek at Alchemy. Alchemy, you're just playing mono red, my friends. That is it. Not much going on there at all, but that is Mythic. Surprise, surprise. Let's go all the way back here. Here's what we do got going on. In terms of across the board, though, we got mono red aggro, mono red burn, mono black Nazgul, Azor soldiers, Gruul dinosaurs, mono black midrange, mono white soldiers, and Gruul burn. And then again, you can see a lot of these lists in terms of what's going on. Let's pop all these in here so that you can see these. There we go. Not bad, not bad. You can see what's happening up above as well. There we go. That's a little bit more recovered. Now let's go ahead and look at Mythic. Again, it's still that mono red. So didn't change. Was going to see if it did. Just kidding. All right, best of 3. Here's what we got going on. Best of 3 Alchemy. You got Orzhov Control, Orzhov Midrange, Esper Control, and Gruul Dinosaurs. Pretty heavily dominated by those top 3, Orzhov and Esper specifically, as you can see there. We'll see if there's anything different when it comes to Mythic. Nothing going on in Mythic there. All right, so let's go ahead and check out Historic. Historic's got a lot going on here. We got Dimmer Ninjas at the top, followed by 4-color Leyline, Izzet Wizards, Mono Green Devotion, Mono Red Aggro, Mono Green Elves, Mono White Life Gain, and Mono Black Control. Then on the right, dominated by Izzet Wizards, 4-color Leyline, and that really kind of everything else there in a pack, and you can see that in terms of that popularity. We see that uptick in Leyline as well, but kind of everything downtrending while Wizards is getting a little bit stronger. Dimmer Ninjas, though, doing very, very well there in terms of what's going on, but we do see that uptick in Wizards. We see that uptick in Leyline as well in terms of some of the tightening of the meta across the board. Let's see what we got going on in Mythic. Mythic here, we do have 4-color Leyline at the top, Dimmer Ninjas, Mono Green Devotion, and Izzet Wizards in terms of those lists. And then here on the right, what is being played, Dimmer Ninjas, 4-color Leyline, Mono Green Devotion, Izzet Wizards makes up about 50% of the meta. So pretty close there in terms of what's going on with Historic Best of 1. Best of 3, we see Izzet Wizards, Mono Green Devotion, and Temur Gates being the 4 main decks. Well, 3 plus if you add in that Azor's Control for 4. And then here you go in terms of those win rates there as well. And then when we check out Mythic for Historic Best of 3, it is all about that Izzet Wizards, my friends. All right, let's go all the way back. It is time for Timeless. It is always timeless. We got Dimmer Dredge at the top, Rakdos Breach, Rakdos Burn, Mono Black Control, Mono Red Burn, Jund Midrange, Rakdos Midrange, and Grixis Shadow. We definitely see a lot of missing white and hardly any green, which is unfortunate when it comes to Timeless. Anyway, regardless, here's what we got going on the right. We got domination by Rakdos Burn and Mono Black Control. Lots of stuff here. Everything else really at 5+%, which is pretty good. We do see this swap here over the time between the Mono Black Control in terms of playing Rakdos Burn. Lots of popular lists here with these two, and then everything else kind of huddling in. Now we do see Dimmer Dredge popping back up, while Rakdos did have a little bit of an advantage there. Same with Burn in terms of what was going on. Now Dredge had been doing fairly well for the course of the entire month. Now we do see everything kind of popping back up except for a decrease in Jund Midrange and Rakdos Breach there. And then when we do look at Mythic, here's what we got going here. We got Rakdos Breach, Mono Black Control, Mono Red Burn, Rakdos Burn, and then here on the right, Mono Black Control at 14%, Rakdos Breach at 11%. Very, very strong there in terms of Mythic. So that is Timeless Best of 1. Let's check out Best of 3 here. Best of 3, we do have Jund Midrange, 5-color Domain, 4-color Control, Dimmer Control, Rakdos Midrange, Mono Black Control, 5-color Omnath, and Sultai Midrange. So again, a little bit more of a splattering there in terms of those colors. That's always nice to see. Dominated really by well, only one color. Lots of colors in here, 3+. When you look at that, and then Jund Midrange there at 20%. Rakdos Midrange, 5-color Domain, really there. Very, very powerful in terms of that Jund Midrange. Huge pickup there in terms of popularity. Additionally, we kind of see that parallels what's going on there in the win rate too. And then Rakdos Burn there, big pickup in 5-color Domain recently and 4-color Control as well. Then we see Sultai Midrange kind of falling off and a slow burn on that Mono Black Control coming down over time. Pretty interesting there for Timeless. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on in Mythic. Sultai Midrange though at the top of Mythic, Jund Midrange, Rakdos Midrange, 5-color Domain. Very interesting to see that. Sometimes we see those flips back and forth between the wider range as well as Mythic. It's kind of interesting to see that. Kind of get climbed out of some of the other stuff to really hone in on that more stringent meta, as I like to say, in terms of what's going on. So that is timeless here this week. Let's see what's happening in Historic Brawl. Historic Brawl, we have Ragavan at the top, Pogweaver in here, Rusko, Narset, Panlaza, the First Sliver, Itali, and Atraxa. Here on the right, you can see again everything that's being played. Mythwaver being one of the most popular. Rusko in there too. Here you go again, how these things have been trending. We did see Narset earlier on in the month. Big pop back up in Rusko. And then here, win rate over time. We did have Pogweaver pop above Ragavan. I think we talked about that last week. We see Rusko making a big pickup. A few others coming back in, like Atraxa and Narset and Panlaza as well. So that, my friends, is Historic Brawl. Lots of changes here. Lots of things moving around. Nice to get a kind of end-of-month snapshot here. We're going to be out of the gates here into February already, kind of a split week, which will be interesting. It's always fun to see that. And then very soon, we're also going to have more murders at Karlov Manor. I'm very excited for this new set. I hope you are too. And with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We always have a lot of fun with these things. If you still got a question, if you got a comment, let me know. Feel free to come swing by the Discord server, say hello, join our great community there as well. And thank you. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes and the subs as we grow this amazing community. And as always, thank you to all our members. We do have memberships available to you. We also have affiliate links down below, and if you're looking for cards, we got those there. You can check those out, particularly with the murders at Karlov Manor, like I said. So thank you for that if you're looking. And additionally, we do have socials. Please feel free to @ me, chat me, all that fun stuff. I love to see the decks you're playing. I love playing your decks. That's a big thing for me here on the channel. So certainly do that because we have a lot of fun, or hit me up in Discord and all that fun stuff. So with that, best of luck as you close out your season here for January, my friends, and we'll see you again next week. Again, thank you and best of luck in your strong finish here this week. Take care.